Happy Wednesday and welcome to episode 57 of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. This is the last and final closing episode for the month of May's topics on all things motherhood. So for this week, I'm going to be revisiting a previous episode that I felt was informative, and it's a topic that I feel I'm still personally working at and doing on my journey of womanhood and motherhood. And I hope that you guys will find this replayed episode to be helpful and resourceful in some way of what breaking the cycle means and the steps that you can take in working towards breaking the cycle for your own life. So without further ado, here's episode 26, Breaking the Cycle.
Hi, I'm Gian, but for short and sweet, they call me G. Hence, Keeping It G with G, the podcast. This is a weekly heart-to-heart based off of authentic life experiences and honesty, in hopes to inspire others to be more transparent about the ups and downs of everyday life shit. And to give you, the listeners, that extra push you may need to begin your own journey of self-help and healing. And please, keep in mind that I'm not an expert, I'm just speaking from experience. Now let's start the show. Happy Wednesday, y'all. I know y'all are probably like, it's not Monday. What is she doing dropping an episode in the middle of the week like this on hump day? But I wanted to be spontaneous. I was feeling spontaneous. So I'm back again with another episode. This is episode number 26 of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. First and foremost, thank you for tuning in, taking the time out of your precious little life to listen to me talk my shit once again this week. And with that being said, for this week's episode, I wanted to talk about breaking the cycle. And for those of you who are wondering, what does it mean to break the cycle? This means to not participate in dysfunctional and or unhealthy behavior. Often such behavior is commonplace in one's family, and the person breaking the cycle does so to keep it from continuing through future generations. Y'all know I had to break it down out the dictionary, so your girl Googled that. But with that being said, this does not necessarily mean you came from or are in a dysfunctional family, but in every family there has been and will be some behaviors and attitudes, or just simply the way we go about life, that we adopt unconsciously. And it can also be genetic in terms of anxiety or depression. So that is super serious. So of course I'm not being funny or playful when it comes to those type of genetic mental health disorders. Those are, like I said, super serious. But the way to break this would be to really step outside of yourself and observe yourself and family, and then begin to be accountable and decide for yourself that that is not the route that you want to take, especially if you notice this to be a repetitious thing and it has not been helping you to operate healthily as an adult, meaning in relationships or parenting or in job, careers, what have you. It could be attitudes. It could be, just the way that you functioned growing up. And it takes a lot of accountability to decide that that shit is dysfunctional and you don't want to be like that. You don't have to do things in the same exact way your mother or father did things. You're an offspring, yes, but you are your own person. You are different from them in the way of the certain cards that you've been dealt in life. You don't have to be the parent they were in the same way they parented you. Yes, take the good shit and apply it towards your parenting skills or your life now, but if it's some things that you did not agree with growing up, or that did not necessarily work for you as a kid, that you're finding out now as an adult that they did, it's time to switch it up. You have to step outside of yourself again and switch it up. Every child is different. Every relationship is different. Every life experience is different. You have to do a temperature check on these things and do what works for you, not what worked for your parents or other family members. Break the cycle. Don't continue to keep doing the same shit and keep having the same shit going, especially if it's unhealthy and it hasn't helped you in any way, shape, fashion, or form regarding your life. Personally, for me, I've taken some skills from both my mom, dad, and even my sisters as it pertains to my life, but not all of it, because I'm my own person and I take a lot of pride in having my own identity. And I have been called, my mom has called me before, like, you have always been a kid that I have that just always does the opposite. And I've learned, with trial and error, that some of those decisions that I made have made me fall on my ass, but I've learned nonetheless. But it built character. It builds character. And it's continuing to build character. So, of course, I am grateful for my parents and my sisters who hold me down and keep me level-headed. But I've always been true to myself. It's hard because sometimes they may not always agree, but I take pride in being strong-minded. And it took a village. It's still taking a village. But the beauty of all this is that I've learned. I'm still learning, and I'm grateful for my beautiful village. Even if we are a bit crazy sometimes, because it's family, you have your ups and your downs, but at the end of the day, that's your blood. So, we got each other's backs. We support one another, whether we agree or not. And that's what matters most to me. So shout out to my village. I love y'all. But, of course, like I said, there are some things that we unconsciously adopt regarding attitudes, behaviors, outlooks on life. And I'm just here to encourage you to, step into yourself, step into your own identity, and to stay true to yourself. Because like I said, everybody's lives are different. We don't have the same lives as our mother or father has been through or went through. So it's imperative for you to, like I said, take the good shit and run with it that they've taught you. But at the end of the day, especially if you have kids, you have your own generation and you have your own offspring to worry about. So you have to do what works for you, your family, your kid, yourself, and, don't hesitate to lean on your family for advice, because like I said, it takes a village. But regarding breaking the cycle, I just wanted to speak on that briefly and to encourage you guys to step outside of yourself and be observant and be accountable, and if this is like I said about anxiety or depression, because those things can be genetic, it's imperative for you to understand that to get help with those things, you have to seek professional help, because it could be genetic. It could be passed down from a mother or father, from a grandmother, or, so it's important for you to look those symptoms up and get professional help, seek a therapist, seek out to a family or a friend, let them know how you're really feeling. If you don't feel like yourself way too often, and that is a red flag. So of course, when it comes to that part of breaking the cycle, those are some of the things that you have to seek professional help from. I'm not encouraging you to ignore those signs. I'm not encouraging you to, just throw it wayside or under the rug. If you do not feel well, it's important for you to talk about these things and be vocal and vulnerable with someone that you trust and that loves and care about you, so that you can get the help that you need. And so on a lighter note, that is my take on breaking the cycle. I don't know who needed to hear this, but this is for you. Break the cycle, y'all. Ask questions. Ask your mom and your dad what they faced. Ask your mom and your dad about your grandmother, your great grandparents. Just try to learn the history of the family so that you don't repeat the same cycle and pass these things down to your children if they are detrimental. Even if it has something to do with attitudes, behaviors, mental health, you need to know these things so that you can raise your child up in the way that you need to. So I encourage you to do that. I hope that this episode touches whoever needs to hear it most. Again, please don't forget to follow the podcast page for the Instagram and the Twitter, and to subscribe, share with your family and friends, because you never know who needs to hear it. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. Have a great rest of the week. We are halfway through the week. It's Wednesday. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I do my Wednesday check-ins to make sure everybody's feeling and doing well in the week thus far. So I hope that for you guys listening as well. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with that, and have a great rest of the week. And I will talk to you for the next episode of Keeping It G with G, the podcast.